Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Texans franchise. It's the offseason, part 2, the draft. If you want to check out free agency, re-signing stage, retirements, all that stuff, check out the previous episode. This is just going to be the draft alone. And to start it off, we're going to talk some preparations. If you just want to see the draft itself, just skip ahead. But we have 2 first-round picks and a couple extra 3s, a 4, a 5, and 2 7s. We don't have a 6th round pick, but that's fine. We have 2 7s instead. And then next year, we also have 2 first rounders, 2 extra 7s, an extra 4. But to start it off, Rashard Winters, 6 foot, 196, 22 years old, out of Texas. He has good speed. I really like his athleticism all around. He has also good change of direction skills and stuff like that. And his core attributes are A, medium route running, A, spec catch, B, juke move. So there's a little bit of everything in there. Another receiver, Will Livingston, 4.26, 40-yard dash, elite speed and acceleration. And yeah, with this guy, you know you can go deep, but his receiving skills are not that great, I gotta tell you. There's no quarterbacks that I'm looking at because I didn't find a quarterback in this draft class that was so intriguing. I wanted to spend a first round pick on him. And that's why we're just gonna go over interesting prospects for my own draft here. Calvin Prince is a mid-round receiver that has solid speed, great acceleration, nice athleticism all around. Probably not a great run blocker, but catch in traffic is an A, catching is an A to C. So there is something there for a mid-round receiver. And then I had actually a couple tight ends on the board too, but I wasn't really that interested. Just like in quarterbacks. And then running back, same thing. So Roman Flowers is the only left tackle that I was really interested in drafting. And I think that his run blocking is just too low, but for like if he falls to the 3rd round, you can think about picking him up and maybe making him a swing tackle and maybe a long-term project. The interior class was a lot better, and the best prospect of all of them is Greg Springs. 3rd to 4th round projected, elite acceleration, great speed, solid strength, and just an amazing athlete with lots of A's and B's in there. The only thing that's really worrying me is kind of that C pass block rating. That doesn't look too hot, but he's an interior offensive lineman. And then Brent Sawyer at right guard, 21 years old still, and I like his athleticism as well. He has elite strength, good acceleration, so you can have him as a pulling guard and stuff like that. He also has lots of A's and B's. His finesse ratings are not that great with a C, but that's still something you can work on. It's not horrible. And there's a few more guards and centers that I liked, but those were the main 2 ones. And then the only real tackle that I liked and was about to pick up if he fell a little bit in the draft is Lawrence Norton, who has great speed, good acceleration, solid strength, and has lots of A's and B's as well. Just the run and pass block powers are not that great, but other than that, I think he's gonna be a solid tackle. He's just going at a spot where I'm not taking him at number 1 overall, but I also don't want to trade up from 18 into the top 10. Let's go to the other side of the football. We have Curtis Franklin here. I was just not really all that interested in all these pass rushers. There were a lot of them, and none of them were like particularly great athletes and at the same time have some skills. So there was no way I was going to pick up a first round edge rusher. And for the later round edge rushers, there was a few of them. Otis Hobbs was somebody that was kind of intriguing. I think that his athleticism is really good. at 478.40, but still 31 bench press. And but he was a first-round projected player, and I wasn't really looking forward to that. Especially, I don't know about that finesse moves, and I already was kind of set on who to pick with my second first-round pick. A defensive tackle I really liked is Anton Cummings. He is 21 years old. He has good acceleration, elite speed, and good strength at 304 pounds or something. He had a 4.69 40-yard dash. That is absolutely ridiculous. He has A finesse moves. C power moves is a good baseline for somebody that you would pick up in the 3rd round, but you don't know the block shedding. And now this is the guy that I was targeting with my second first-round pick. He just looks absolutely amazing. Elite acceleration, elite speed, good strength, 4.58 40-yard dash, and all the other athletic abilities are great too. He has A to B awareness, B block shedding, A play rec, A tackling, B pursuit, A hit power, and even B zone coverage. So that's why I was kind of set on him. And then Chris Portillo is a later round, like a 2nd round linebacker with great acceleration and elite speed. And I don't know if that elite speed shows up in his 40-yard dash, because that does not look like elite speed, but he has so many Bs on awareness, on play rec, man and zone coverage, block shedding. So there's a lot to like. And then kind of a similar player here in Nazir Spears, who also has elite speed, but only good acceleration. And at the linebacking position, you'd rather have elite acceleration there. And that's why I kind of prefer Chris Portillo. Also Nazir Spears, only C to F block shedding and not B, like Portillo. And then this is going to be the #1 overall pick. I have talked about this for a long time, and he just looks too good. He has elite speed, 4.32 40-yard dash. He has A man, A zone, A press, A catching, A awareness, A to B block shedding, and this guy could play safety too. The only concern about him is the injury rating. He just looks amazing. There's a lot of other good corners in this draft class, but this guy just looks too good to be true. And then the one safety that I was kind of intrigued with, but not like really high on, Tavon Hargrave, 4.42 40, the fastest safety in the draft class. Great speed, but only decent athleticism, decent acceleration. Overall, the athleticism is good, I'd say, or like slightly above average, but it's nothing spectacular or anything. But you already know right at the gate, he has A awareness, B man coverage, C zone, B play rec, B pursuit, and A hit power. But let's move on. It's draft time, and yeah, I have talked about this for a long time. If there is, in my opinion, if there is a generational talent in a draft class and you see it in the draft process, you gotta take him. I don't care about the position. We picked Derek Stingley last year with the 3rd overall pick. I don't care. I'm going right back at cornerback, because there is no other player in this draft class that looks even close to as good as Alex Day does. And he is 6'3" at that, a corner at 6'3", and he still runs a 4.32 40-yard dash. It is ridiculous how good this guy is gonna be. And yeah, I don't care that I already picked the top 3 corner last year, top 3 player in the last year's draft, but this guy's gonna be the 1st round pick, and I'm pretty sure this is one of those generational talents. He has just too many good ratings overall, and hidden dev, 96 speed, 90 acceleration, 94 change of direction. You might want to see a little bit higher jumping and agility, but the athleticism is right there. And with those letter grades at A's for every important cornerback rating, and then a few B's, this guy's gonna be good. And I'll make sure to get him a tight jersey and not one of those long sleeve jerseys. And I really am happy with that selection. Donnell Hearns was the other player that you might have considered, but he's a one-trick pony with his finesse rushing, and that's about it. And that's nothing I want to take at number 1 overall. And then the Jets take the tackle that might be the guy to go if Alex Day was not in this draft class. And then another tackle goes to the Dolphins to make this happen. And then the Giants at 5 overall, they are going to pick the second best corner, who also looked amazing, but not like generational talent amazing. He looks really good, and we're gonna take a look at all of these guys later. Darren Thomas is an edge rusher just like Donnell Hearns. I think they're so similar. And then the first quarterback goes off the board to the Panthers. Nick Norris out of San Jose State. Didn't like him a lot. And then Eric Bayless. If somebody were forcing me to take a quarterback, this is probably the guy I would have gone with. Although I wouldn't say he's an elite quarterback prospect. He might be like kind of an average first round quarterback with average athleticism at best. And then the Bengals, because they have a really bad receiving core, they take another one. And this guy also looked amazing. And then the Vikings come back and they pick Daniel Alfaro, a pocket-style quarterback, if I've ever seen one. And now this was kind of getting interesting until Lawrence Norton was taken by the Raiders. Because my strategy was, maybe he falls a little. If he falls to like 13, I would have traded up for him. But he doesn't. And so there he goes at 11. And we don't pick a right tackle here in the first round, because all of the other first round tackles were not that intriguing to me. And at 14, I thought to myself, I'm going to trade up here and get my guy, because Jamie Cantu is not going to be around forever. And from all the mock drafts, I checked out when he went the earliest, and the earliest was 15 in those mock drafts. And so I thought, okay, I'll just trade up to 14. That's 4 spots. Give up an extra 3. And I think that's a fair deal. It's also, it checks out with the draft value charts. And we're going to do this trade. It gets through. There is no extra adding on here to do. And we're going to get our guy. Now, the other guy I was kind of interested in the middle of the first round was a wide receiver, but more on that later. First out, we got to take this guy. Jamie Cantu, 22 years old, built by Bama, elite speed, elite acceleration, 22 bench reps. Yeah, and just an outstanding linebacker. And we just, we don't have any linebackers. We have the weakest linebacking core in the league. And he has A hit power, A play rec, A tackling, A to B awareness, B block shedding, B pursuit. Even B zone coverage is not horrible. But again, with him also, D to F injury. And he has hidden dev. Let's go. 90 acceleration, 87 speed. I think you might have wanted something like 89 speed, but this is still fine for like a middle linebacker type. And he might also have maybe kind of an upside as a pass rusher if we decide to develop him into that direction, kind of like a Micah Parsons type of player here. And then, yeah, Rashard Winters, the receiver. I thought for a long time about him, and his ratings, his letter grades weren't looking all that great. And I thought to myself that if he falls to like the 20s, because he was supposed to go right here to pick 17, 18, 19. If he falls to the 20, maybe I trade up. And the Bears take the supposedly best linebacker in this draft class, like middle linebacker, inside linebacker. But I wasn't as high on him either. And Rashard Winters kept falling, and the letter grades kept not really intrigue me intriguing me because, I don't know, his main upside was good route running and like catching, but the athleticism wasn't really all that high end. And since he fell down the board, I thought he was one of those players that was just also like one of those guys that also the AI knows that is not all that great, and they're not gonna pick him up until like the second round or something. But I wasn't sure, and he kept falling on me. I also didn't really need to draft a receiver, especially with the breakout of Justin Ross. We still have Brandon Cooks under contract. I still have Nico Collins and John Mechie, although I'm not sure if I want to keep John Mechie around. And Rashard Winters keeps falling. I don't know what's happening here. And it made me more not wanting to draft him because he kept falling. And so I decided ultimately to not trade up for him. Maybe consider it when he really falls to the second round at pick 33, which is my next selection. And think about it then. But I was pretty sure that he was going to go soon. And another pick, he doesn't go off the board. It's going to be a tight end. Supposedly the best tight end in this draft class. Looked kind of solid in the pre-draft process. But I wasn't keen on picking up a tight end because I have Brevin Jordan, and I'm not going to spend the first round pick on a tight end. And then a running back goes to the Chiefs, and then the Bucks are on the clock. They don't need a receiver, and they need a quarterback instead. And they are taking Tyson Clark, who has kind of intriguing athleticism, but his quarterbacking is kind of raw. I wasn't really all that excited by him. And then the Seahawks come back with their second first-round pick, also take a quarterback. This was the fastest one, but his accuracy ratings are not great. And then we're at pick 30, and I thought to myself, this was the spot to go, man. Rashard Winters to the Packers, man, that would have been a match made in heaven. And they take a tight end instead. And then the Lions are on the board. They take a strong safety, and there is 32. And they take a running back. And now here he is, Rashard Winters at 33. I couldn't believe my own eyes. I thought he was going to go at like 18, like the mock drafts told me to. But then I also saw this great trade offer. Future first rounder, and we pick up a 7 this year. This is basically a trade up in the draft next year somehow. I'm not sure. It's how to explain it, but we pick up a third first round pick for next year, and that's, yeah, it's basically a trade out, and we have an extra first round pick next year. And I like that idea. So I went ahead and did that, and hoped that Rashard Winters was gonna fall a little bit closer to my third round pick too. And he doesn't. He goes right here to the Seahawks, and I missed out on him, but I wasn't too sad at the time. It's just his athleticism was kind of average. It was good, but not really like a first round receiver feels like a top 10 like a top 10 or top 20 pick. So that's why I was okay with letting him go there. And just the next plan was to move on and trade up for my favorite linebacker prospect, which was Chris Portillo, the middle linebacker out of Stanford, I think. And the plan was just to wait until the linebackers above him on the board go and then trade up. And Brent Sawyer, an interesting guard prospect here, went to the Lions. They pick him up. And the Bengals pick up a running back because you don't need O-line in this league, apparently. And then the Raiders, who picked a nice tackle in the first round, they come back in the second round with a receiver that is injury prone. I know that from the stories. And then the Colts take an edge rusher that was not really all that intriguing to me personally. And then the Titans, with the next pick, they take Nate McKay, who was my second favorite option at middle linebacker behind Chris Portillo. And he goes. But there is still another linebacker that I wanted to wait on, and his name was Alfonso Lynch. And then the Patriots in the middle of the second round, they are going to go ahead and take my favorite safety. So no picking safeties here in this draft. I thought he was a nice, interesting prospect, but not interesting enough for me to trade up or make him a first-round pick or something like that. And then Nick Durham and Jaron Chapman, safeties, going left and right here in the middle of the second round, just like running backs. And then my other favorite tackle prospect went a lot earlier than I anticipated, so no picking him up either. And then we're getting close to the third round, and there goes Alfonso Lynch. So that's the spot where I decided, okay, now I gotta trade up because I don't want to miss out on this kid. And that's what I did. I sacrificed a future 4 to move up 10 spots from the first pick in the third round to the late second round and get my guy, because this is what you need to do to be in order to be successful. If you have a guy you want to get, you gotta trade up for them. And I didn't want to risk it, or risk him not falling to the third round. And he's 21 years old. He's out of Stanford. He has nice traits here, bone-crushing hits. He doesn't have the interception trait, but that's fine. He has great acceleration, elite speed, just decent strength, so nothing really exciting about that, but his change of direction is good as well. He looks like a solid 3-down linebacker with B zone and B man coverage, B play rec, B awareness. And the only knock on him is he's not a great blitzer, and yeah, that's it. Or his catching is not great, but 90 acceleration, 90 speed, no hidden dev. So that's kind of, yeah, that's what I expected, basically. He's a solid middle linebacker prospect. I pick him up in the second round, and I think that he has a good chance to be our long-term starting captain of that in the middle of that defense. And yeah, now my next pick was a lot later than I wanted it to be, in the end of the third round. So that's a lot of picks, and I still wanted to get an offensive lineman, if you remember. After I have picked now 2 linebackers and a corner, it's time to go offense. And Greg Springs is my favorite prospect of all the offensive linemen that were in this draft class. Even the ones in the top 5, nobody came even close to how much I liked Greg Springs as an offensive line prospect. And my strategy was to kind of wait a little bit and look at the draft board here and there, just counting towards, okay, when is he like number 30 on the board, on the available board? And if he gets to like number 25 or 30, that was when I was gonna pick him up. And now Nazir Spears here, he goes a few picks later, and he apparently would have been there at our original selection in the third round here. He would have been there, but I didn't want to miss out on Chris Portillo. And then the only tight end that I really liked in this draft class went here in the third round, but I thought that we had a lot more important positions to fill out for this next season. And then the Jacks come back and take a receiver that I also liked really well. And that was when I decided, okay, now I'm going to try to trade up. Do not miss out on this kid. Greg Springs is going to be an amazing offensive lineman. And I'm going to offer them this trade. It's kind of a weird one, but basically what we do is we swap 3rd and 4th round picks next offseason. And yeah, this is the kid I want to get. He is 21 years old. He has elite acceleration, great speed, solid strength. So he's not going to be like 95 strength or anything. But look at all those A's. The only real weakness he has is pass block and pass block power. That's the only two things I'm looking at. But other than that, he looks great, and he has hidden dev, 86 acceleration. That's almost like receiver acceleration, and 72 speed, 86 strength. Looks really, really solid. I like him a lot, and I got him at the beginning of the 3rd round. There was almost a round before the projected board. And now my next pick was down there by a lot. And now Damir Patton went here to the Vikings. Really liked his pick, profile, not pick. And then in the beginning of the 4th round, the Panthers take Will Livingston, the 4-2-6 receiver. And that was kind of an interesting move to pair up with their quarterback. And well, Calvin Prince, a couple picks later. So my receivers were going left and right. I had like 5-6 receivers already by this point taken earlier than I anticipated, except Rashard Winters. And yeah, I just waited it out till my pick was right there at the end of the 4th round. And I looked at the board and I said to myself, well, what's the interesting prospect here? This is a left outside linebacker that has a pass coverage archetype. He has good acceleration and great speed. And he has A zone coverage. And yeah, that looked really intriguing to me. Also A to C pursuit and B catching. So there's something there for a linebacker here, which is our 3rd of the draft. And this pick kind of felt disappointing because I didn't think he would have that bad speed. 84 speed for somebody that ran a 4.64 40. That's a little bit low. And I didn't think it would be that low. We just have to skip one pick here with the Ravens taking another running back that I really liked. And then the next pick, I looked at the board again. Who is the most interesting prospect? Great acceleration, good speed. And this guy is 5'8", I think. He's really small. And but great acceleration and good speed. And then combine that with B short route running, A to C medium, A catching. That's a guy I want in the slot. And that's going to be some also A to C run block, which in the slot is really important. And that was kind of a humbling experience, those last 2 picks. Only normal dev, 91 speed, 93 acceleration. I thought it would be a little better than that. The athleticism doesn't stand out to me, but he has 96 change of direction. And that's something to look at least. And then my next target was Wilkes. He was an undrafted projected running back, and he just went in the 5th round. I could not believe it. This was the guy I wanted to get at running back. And also the running back that the Ravens took in the middle of my 2 picks, Juan Parrish. Those were the 2 most interesting running backs. And then Matthew Ellington is a quarterback that I really liked as a long-term backup. He really looked solid. But he goes here, and so we're in the 7th round. And we have the next 2 picks consecutively. And all of my favorite undrafted projected players were gone by this point. The running backs I talked about, the quarterback here, Matthew Ellington. All the receivers that I liked were gone. And so there was nothing to do here. And I just traded away both picks. Got some future 6s. And that's fine by me. If there is nobody on the board that I like, then I'm just not gonna pick anybody, because why would I waste a pick on somebody that I don't really have high hopes for? So that's what I did, and there is 2 6s for the future. Pair that up with an extra 1st round pick and the other extra 1st round pick we already had before this draft. That looks nice. And then with our 3rd 7th round pick, I took the defensive tackle that I thought he had a nice skill set here for a 7th round pick here. Finesse moves coupled with a nice strength rating. That looks nice. He is, yeah, he's the 7th round pick. Nothing special about him, but that's why I picked him. And now let's look at the prospects. 82 overall, which is already higher than what Derek Stingley is right now. 22 years old, out of Auburn. And now we have a lockdown cornerback room for years to come. And he has 82 man, 82 zone, 77 press to start out with, 84 catching, man. This guy is gonna be a monster. The only thing that is a little bit worrisome is the injury rating, but he looks fine. And Jamie Cantu, 74 overall. Run stopper out of Alabama and hidden dev. He's 22 as well. He's a really good run stopper right off the bat. His injury rating also at 83, not that great. But he has 60 zone coverage, 60 finesse moves, and 63 power moves. You can work on all of those. You can make him out to be whatever you want him to be. And then Chris Portillo, 72 overall with great speed, 68 zone coverage. Love that. You have 80 hit power here, 81 pursuit. Block shedding might not be elite, but you can work on that for sure. And he looks solid too. I really like him. And at least he has 90 injuries, so that's not horrible. And then Greg Springs, 76 overall. That's a top 10 value of this entire draft class. And I told you, he's going to be good. The only rating that's really worrisome is run block power. And that pass blocking doesn't look great. But you can work on that. He looks solid. And I like this pick. And then this is the bust. Elijah Higgins. I really don't understand why he is so low rated. I thought he looked a lot better with that draft profile, but he's also 23 years old. And I converted him to a linebacker. He has 65 zone coverage. That's really solid, but he doesn't have the athleticism that I anticipated for somebody that ran a 4.64 40. But yeah, AJ Lincoln, 74 overall. He is a win after all. I didn't think he was gonna turn out to be that good, but 84 catching, 79 catch in traffic, 79 short route running, 74 medium route running. This guy's gonna be a slot receiver and a great one at that. And he also has 83 juke move, 76 spin, 96 change of direction. And then another bust, or I wouldn't call it a bust in the 7th round. But I think that's a nice starting point. 87 strength and 74 finesse moves. You can work on that and make him a decent 3rd down interior rusher. And that looks good. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're going to go through the rest of the draft class. This is going to be mostly 1st round picks and interesting picks just. And yeah, like I said, Donald Hearns, 81 finesse moves. He's a one-trick pony. His power moves is never going to be all that great. And he doesn't even have exciting athleticism for a number 2 overall pick. And then at number 3, Quincy Branch, a tackle with, yeah, he's just not the greatest mover. And even his run and pass block ratings are just kind of average. And Scott Lowry, 21, also hidden dev, but kind of the same deal here. It's not his finesse, it's his power blocking that needs a lot of work, and his pass blocking and run blocking is kind of average too. So I don't think those two are worth a top 5 pick in the draft. Contrary to this guy, 95 speed, 81 zone coverage, 71 man. He has something to work on with his press rating because that's not great, and that is exactly why I said that he is not the same type of prospect that Alex Day is. But let's move on. Darren Thomas, same deal again, just like with Donald Hearns. Both of those guys, not the exciting athleticism and a one-trick pony with only good finesse moves. Quarterback Nick Norris looks solid. 90 throw power is kind of below averagey. And the 77 speed is not great, but I guess he's fine. He's just doesn't scream top 10 pick to me. And then Eric Bayless, 73 overall. This was the guy I was going to take if somebody forced me to take a quarterback. And he looks solid, but also athlete, yeah, really not. And then Nazir Pierman. This is a first-round receiver you want to have, man. 85 spin move, 83 juke move, and the receiving upside is immense. His deep route running is the worst rating at a 68. You can work on that. His spec catch is already at 91. This guy looks absolutely amazing. And then Daniel Alfaro. Yeah, he's a pocket passer. He has the greatest throw power in the entire draft class, but this guy, no. If I want to have a pocket passer to develop, I'd rather keep Davis Mills. And then the best tackle I anticipated, Lawrence Norton. He looks solid. He is, yeah, he's a mid-first round pick. And if he would have been there at like 14, I would have traded up for him. But he went at 11 and I wasn't going to give up a second round pick. And then Sean Kendricks goes to the Titans at 13 is, yeah. And he's also a one-trick pony, and he has a huge injury risk. 71 injury, that is way too low. He's a one-trick pony as a finesse rusher, nothing more, nothing less. Just like Hearns and Thomas. And then George Gary. There's a lot of great cornerbacks in this draft class, but they were all first-round picks. And if I gotta take a first-round corner, I'd rather take the one with the big upside. And then Landon Honeycutt. This is the tackle that I missed out on because his run block finesse is not great, and his pass blocking and run block, it's not like a top 5 level prospect. But I think he is a better prospect than the two tackles that went at 3 and 4. And then at 18, I think that was our original pick. The Falcons take a running back that looks so exciting. This guy looks absolutely amazing, man. And then the Chicago Bears, they were projected to draft Rashard Winters more than once, but they take a linebacker, and I think compared to Chris Portillo, this guy doesn't look a whole lot better. And I got Chris Portillo at the end of the second round. And then Tyson Clark, a new franchise quarterback for the Buccaneers. Great athleticism, just 89 throw power, and the ratings are kind of not really there. But he's kind of a project. And I think you can start out with that. Greg Johnson, a pick after him. And he has Russell Wilson's 3. That looks kind of wrong, but 90 speed, 91 acceleration. That is kind of exciting. But I also said in the draft process that his accuracies are a work in progress, and you can see it there. And then that was pick 31, Barry Jackson. This guy looks really solid. I missed out on this guy because I don't know why I missed out on him, because he has good athleticism and his coverages are not horrible, and he has 83 hit power. He looks kind of really good. And this is the guy I really missed out on. He's a top 10 prospect in this draft class. He has 92 speed, 80 medium route running, and the catchings are all in the 80s. I could not believe this when I saw it. He looked so average. And oh my god, he's a top 10 prospect, a top 10 value of this draft class. I could not believe it, man. And he has even great abilities after the catch. Wow, I could not believe that when I saw it. Rashard Winters is the biggest miss of my drafts ever. Brent Sawyer is a right guard for the Lions. They pick another solid option here. He doesn't look great, but I mean, he's a second round pick. What do you expect? There is no perfect second round picks. And then Tavon Hargrave, the one corner I was really considering, seriously considering, and he looks solid. Just a solid safety, nothing special. Doesn't really have great acceleration. That was kind of what scared me off of him. And this guy, I didn't ever really consider him, but he has 89 hit power, and that is highest in the draft class. I could make this guy a linebacker in this league, but I know that the Steelers already have a few linebackers, and his run stopping upside is really not up there. And then Andrew LeClaire. This is the most intriguing tight end of this draft class to me personally, but would have had to spend an early 3rd round pick, I think. Yeah, I think that was pick 65 or 66 or something. Looks really solid too. And then this is the only defensive tackle or like interior rusher that I ever really considered, and he looks solid. 80 finesse moves, 68 power moves, 67 blockchain. Yeah, he's one-dimensional, but I wouldn't have had to spend a top 2 overall pick on him. He would have been like a 3rd round pick too. And then this is also a guy I really missed out on. I liked him in the pre-draft process, but I didn't think he would be an even better prospect than Chris Portillo. I could not believe it, man. 89 speed, 89 excel, 71 zone coverage. Are you kidding me, man? That guy looked really solid, and I completely missed out on him. I didn't think he would be that good. He was on my board, but I did not think he would be that good. And then 97 speed, 96 acceleration for Will Livingston. Is it you, John Ross? Looks absolutely stunning, but his route runnings are trash. He's just going to be a deep threat and nothing much more. And then Juan Parrish, one of the running backs that was kind of a... I think he was projected undrafted. And I really liked him, but the Ravens took him so early, I never even had a chance to look at him. And then the same goes for Wilkes, and I really missed out on this guy too. 91 speed, but at the same time he has 81 trucking and 83 stiff arm, 84 strength, 79 break tackle for an undrafted projected running back, and he went in the 5th round. I could not believe it when I saw it. Another undrafted projected player, Matthew Ellington, solid athleticism, 82 short accuracy, 76 medium. This is the kind of long-term backup that you want to have in your league, or in your franchise rather. And then another receiver I really missed out on. This guy was not on my radar at all. 96 speed, 95 acceleration, and the catching ratings are really solid. He even has better route runnings than the other guy, Livingston. But yeah, let's look at some of our divisional rivals, or at all of them rather. The Colts had an average draft class, I'd say. They take 2 edge rushers and a solid cornerback, and then in the 6th round they get a nice receiver with serious speed at 96. Kind of missed out on all of those. There were a lot of speedy receivers in this draft class. And then the Jaguars take Darren Thomas, 77, and then a couple of receivers that are really nice to have, but their draft class is nothing special. And then the Titans, kind of an average draft class as well. Didn't have as many picks, but they take an edge rusher that is injury prone, just perfect for the Titans. Caleb Farley and Jeffrey Simmons comes to mind. Then they take a middle linebacker prospect that I liked him too, and he has even better speed than Chris Portillo. I didn't believe it when I saw it, but the rest was not all that special. Let's look at interesting or good draft classes from other teams, and the Bears really knocked it out of the park. Get a linebacker and then a 2nd round tackle that I really liked, 3rd round guard that I completely missed out on, and like a 6th round receiver that was really solid. And another team that really knocked it out of the park is the Dolphins with a tackle in the top 5. That was not really a great pick, but then they come back later in the 1st round, get a great cornerback, then get a great safety that I also completely missed out on, and then come back with an edge rusher there. Actually, that's not an edge rusher, that's a coverage linebacker. So 4 nice players to start off their draft with. And then the Seahawks, they get the pass rusher. Then they get the project quarterback. Then they get the stud receiver, 76 overall. I still can't believe it, man. I can't believe I missed out on that guy. It is unbelievable to me. And then they get a nice safety there in the late 2nd round. That's a nice pickup as well. And then Jose Bradley is also a linebacker that I kind of liked, but I knew he wasn't going to be as good. And yeah, 67 overall is not horrible. But in the 6th round, they come back, take another good receiver. Great draft class by the Seahawks. And then the Vikings, solid draft class here. Taking the quarterbacks, the quarterback in the 1st round, a nice safety in the 2nd that doesn't have the great athleticism that I'm looking for. A middle linebacker in the 3rd round here that I really liked. Another linebacker in the 5th that I also liked. And then come back with a receiver later in the 6th, which is yeah, just a great draft class. And now on to UDFAs, and this guy, I did not have him on my board, but he was sitting there, 90 speed. I still need a running back because all the running backs that I liked went way earlier in the draft than I thought. And then another receiver, I didn't see him on this on the draft class, and he looks really solid. Good route runner right off the bat. 21 years old, can play inside and outside. Good catching ratings. I take this guy any day of the week. And let's move on to the star of this UDFA class. 97 speed. I did not see this guy coming, man. 80 spec catch and 77 deep route running. But that was a pun because he really is the star of this UDFA class, and he looks kind of unbelievable. I can't believe he's still there in UDFA, and I'm gonna pick him up as well, obviously. But he is just a pure deep threat and nothing more. He is just, he's never going to be a great route runner, I'd say. And then this is an interesting prospect because I saw this guy in the draft class. And I was going to maybe pick him there with our last 7th round pick. And he didn't look great. But I figure out why. Because he's listed as a defensive tackle even though he's only 270. And if you look at his athleticism as a edge rusher and not a defensive tackle, he looks a lot more intriguing actually. And then Russell Flanagan, 88 acceleration, 71 finesse moves. There is something to work with for a UDFA here, so he's gonna go on the team as well. I like this guy and I'm gonna put him on the team. And then the same deal here, 91 acceleration, 70 power moves, and 70 block shedding. That looks really intriguing, and I'm gonna put him on the roster as well, even though he's just a 63 overall player. I also had Johnny Buchanan on my draft board, but I didn't think he was gonna be worth a 7th round pick, and I think he would have been, but luckily he's still there. And this is the end of the draft episode, and I still can't believe that I missed out on Rashard Winters. It is unbelievable to me. I think we came away with a nice draft class. But rather than picking Chris Portillo, I should have taken Damir Patton, that linebacker that the Vikings picked, or Nazir Spears, who was still there in the 3rd round, and not trade up, spend capital there, and rather spent my 2nd round pick that I had and traded away. I should have spent that one on Rashard Winters, in all seriousness. I can't believe I missed out on a top 10 value in this draft class. He looked so average. I still can't believe it to this day. I looked at his draft profile a lot more after this draft was over, and yeah, it's kind of unbelievable that this guy fell to the 2nd round and I still didn't pick him up. I wouldn't have even had to trade up for him. I can't believe it, man. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe for more Texans franchise. See you in the next episode. Until then, spread some love.